Welcome, guys, to AFTERBLAST. Welcome, Sam. Welcome, Taylor.
Hey, thanks.
So, I wanted to talk to you guys just more about what we do running labels and distros and mailers and kind of get into that, get deeper into some of that shit and how the ins and outs of it. So, and offer you a chance to vent and educate the public on the process. And I did an interview with Wyatt yesterday from Skin Graft, which was great. He's doing really well, and he works now at he didn't tell me which one. I didn't ask, but he works at a vinyl factory in Cleveland now. I don't know if you know which one that would be, but they press records, and that's his. He works like in the factory doing that now. So it was kind of like cool because I talked to him and I was like, now there's an insider. Actually, we have an insider in the industry because there's all this stuff that goes on. There's all this weird rumors and industry stuff that comes out. Oh, like this material is gone, or this material is going to get depleted, and blah blah blah, and prices are going to double, and all this stuff. And sometimes it seems to be true, but sometimes it seems to be like just kind of a bunch of hot air. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
At least that's not hot air, but you never really know what the real life consequences are going to be and when. Like, I mean, I've heard that chrome tape is like not being made anymore, and of course it's hard to find, but then some places I know have seemingly quite a lot. And I know there was a big scare like a year or two ago that vinyl was going to get extremely expensive, and pressing times were going to go crazy. What have you guys been experiencing with that? I know Sam, you guys both have a lot of vinyl. I know Sam, you have a lot of vinyl going at all times, and Taylor, you just did the Merzbow double LP, and you expressed to me that it came super quickly, like way quicker than you expected.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like, I got the test pressings like in 10 business days, and then like 3 months later I got the records, and I was expecting them an additional 3 months after that. So I feel like they just came half, like the delay was half as long as they said it would be. But my boss, he's pressing stuff all the time, and his stuff is always delayed. So I don't know, maybe mine just slipped through the cracks, but I feel like there is a delay. Sam probably has a better idea because he's doing a lot more, but for me, it was very fast.
Yeah, that's super fast. Where did you go?
Precision in Toronto.
In Toronto, okay. Yeah, I know it seems like a lot of the US plants are really backed up. I'm hearing like over a year for some of them, but I don't know.
Wyatt said.
Yeah, I don't know if it's edition size too. Like some of these plants are dealing with like, Converge puts out a record and they're doing 12 different colors. Each one of them is 3,000. So they're getting bogged down with that crap. So when we're doing like pressings of 300, it's a totally different beast, right? So I'm doing most of my stuff through Mobaniku in Taiwan. So they're like kind of boutique, right? So they're like just doing small edition stuff. So they're sitting at, other than this new Express thing that people are doing, they're sitting at like 5 to 6 months. And that's been pretty stable for the past like year and a half, 2 years. So that hasn't really changed for them. But this new Express thing, I don't know if you guys have heard about that. There's a couple of plants that are doing the 6-week turnaround. Yeah. It's kind of nice, but they're, they'll cap out at, some places are capping out at 100 copies and some are capping out at 200 copies. So you can only do a really short run. So, the per unit price skyrockets, but if you really want to get something done, you can.
Do you get test pressings and all that?
So Mobaniku gave me a test pressing to one of them that I've just gotten back.
Oh, and it's an Express?
Yeah, so I'm getting only 100 of them, and I got test pressings, and it was like, I don't know, 2 days after I approved the test press, they sent me the notice that it was being shipped. So I don't know if they had already pressed it and were just like open, or how that worked out that fast. But yeah, it was like about 6 weeks.
Wow, cool. He was saying that the whole delay that's going on is because of Record Store Day. That was his.
Oh, that's a huge problem. Yeah, that's the same deal, right? So they're trying to press so many copies of certain albums that it's just bogging everything down. Like Got a Groove and all those places, I think they're like sitting at least a year.
Do people buy all that shit? I feel like all that shit that, you know, limited 5,000 soundtrack from, you know, some Netflix series. It's like, for record stores, are people who's buying that?
It really depends. Like there is like, I don't know, I can send you a video because we just had record store day, and I was getting to work, and like the lineup was like all the way down the block. It's the first like real record store day here since COVID hit. So it was a crazy lineup, and then by halfway through the day, it kind of just turned into a normal Saturday, and whatever doesn't sell right away, you're kind of stuck with, because it's like that initial weird hype, and the limited to 5,000 or limited to 10,000, it's not really limited.
Yeah.
So like, like the next day, it's already worth half of what you were selling it for, right? So it's, I think people kind of start to realize that you're stuck with all these like, I don't know, like Beatles 7-inches that everyone has 75 copies of already, and all this shit. Like, yeah. But and also with pressing plants and delays and record store days, there's certain plants, like I know Precision in Toronto works with Universal. So whenever Universal has like a job for like Adele or like Metallica or whatever, that's what gets priority over everything else, because they're paying to be their pressing plant, basically.
Right.
So that doesn't help the little guys either.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, so what I'm curious about is, what do you guys think would happen to the noise scene? Like, you know, it's kind of, maybe it's either one thing or another. I mean, we either have this material is unavailable, or fuel prices are going to go so crazy that shipping becomes, you know, impossible. I'm not saying it's destined to happen, but there are many, many factors that can make this less possible as we do it. Because really right now, it's noise kind of economy scene is also based on volume. The fact that noise artists can crank out like 10 releases in a year and do 10 tapes, and they'll each be priced at like, you know, 6, 7, 8. I mean, not 6 anymore, but I don't know, like $8 to $10 a pop, and people will buy them. Whereas, like, you know, in another musical genre, an album, a band might make one album a year, if that, you know. So I mean, to kind of keep us going, we're kind of relying on people buying lots of stuff to keep those prices down, and et cetera, et cetera. But like, that's kind of a separate thing. But like, what would happen if, for example, the physical formats that we love just become way too expensive to produce on this scale and, you know, get around? Like, what are some of the alternatives? CDs?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm including CDs. Like, say CDs. Say CDs somehow that plastic becomes extinct, or you know, prices just because of fuel. You know, the war disrupts supply chains, whatever. I mean, like, if that just becomes like a CD is going to cost $30 or whatever, and a tape's going to cost $30, and a vinyl is going to cost $50, like, what happens?
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of don't mind that happening a little bit, because I think there's too much of this, like, let's just release a bunch of trash and let's release, I mean, I wouldn't say trash, but you know what I mean? Like, people aren't putting a lot of time into what they're recording. They're just like, I did a recording, now I'm going to release it. Like, no, sit on it. Is it good? Is this your best material? If this is the only thing that comes out this year, do you want this to represent you? You know, like, they don't think about that. They're just like, I recorded this thing,
right,
and I'm going to record it, or, I mean, I'm going to release it. And it's because maybe tapes are too cheap. Maybe CDRs are too cheap. I'm kind of bummed I'm seeing so many CDRs coming out again. I thought we were over that, but maybe that's part of what you're talking about. Like, you know, tapes are getting quite a bit more expensive, so we've got to move back to something cheap. I mean, that's kind of what the noise game is going to be, right? Like, we're kind of outcasts. We don't have a huge market. We're going to be doing whatever is cheapest. So I think no matter what, we're going to be tending to do whatever is cheapest. And hopefully that doesn't mean we're going to go to just doing internet releases, because fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that could really take it over. I mean, I think that's one interesting to think about, is like a more album style approach to releasing noise, like, where it's like, okay, this shit's really expensive and hard to make, and people don't have, money for 10 tapes a month. They have money for like 1 or 2 tapes a month. Like maybe the tape becomes, the price goes up, or or people don't do tapes anymore. They do, CDs, and the price goes up, but it's like treated like, okay, this is the album from so and so this year. Like it's gonna be good because they've put the time into it, because it's fucking takes a lot of money and